Welcome back. I have three young men in the house who I hope I can handle this today. It's going to be a very interesting session. I have with me here Japhet Omojua of omojua.com and africaliberty.org, right?
Yeah.
Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
Also, Chinedu. How do I pronounce his surname? Ekeke. Accountant, social entrepreneur, and Olusegun Dada. You're very welcome.
Thank you.
I think the one title you all have in common is social media commentators.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm going to start with you now. I saw a headline in Punch recently where you said I make money off of Twitter, and that was the headline. I honestly didn't read the article, so I can't even say what you said, but that was the headline I saw.
Yeah.
And I want to ask, do you go on Twitter and start making money, or are you on Twitter because you want to make money?
It's a reaction.
Okay.
The money is a reaction from what I do on Twitter. I realized over the years that I reach a lot of people on Twitter. I've had campaigns that reached over 500,000 people. And now when you put that in a stadium, you can't fit that into a stadium. So when you get the picture that Barcelona stadium has about 90,000 people and you see the crowd, and then you are able to reach 500,000 people, and you spend your time there and you create value and actually minister to people, like make people better and think better, then I realized then I might have to do something about getting something out of it too. So eventually...
At what point did you realize that you had a voice and a following? At what point did something happen that made you realize that?
I realized I had a voice when I started speaking, a regular voice. I don't know if I have a following, but about the voice. When people started, the same way you're growing up and your young kids, other young people are coming to you like, is this true this happened, is this true this happened? Then on social media, people started coming to you, say, what do you have to say about this? This thing has happened, you didn't say anything about it. Then you sit down like, why are these guys expecting me to say something about it? They all have their own Twitter handle. So at that point, you have to begin to think that maybe there's something about the way you say it and how you say it. And then so you have to be much more careful before you take a position.
You're also very vocal. Do you find that you've gotten to a position now where even when you have contrary opinions on certain things, because of the reputation you might have built for yourself, you have to stick to certain things, if that makes any sense?
Yes, that's
Does that make you uncomfortable?
It doesn't. I follow my heart. It doesn't.
So you're okay with whatever it is that you are,
I'm
the
okay
path you have set for
alone.
yourself?
I'm very much okay taking a path and then sticking to it.
How much of social media is noise? Just noise, Shego.
Depends on what you define as noise, actually. I think whatever goes on social media actually gets attention one way or the other. And noise is actually not supposed to get attention. But in this situation, it depends on what you mean by noise.
But is the attention we're getting, or you get on social media, is it necessarily the sort of attention that will create change? I mean, we're saying a lot of things there, yes, yeah. But there's a belief outside of social media that, okay, it's a small community and nothing besides the Occupy Nigeria protest that did happen last year, nothing serious has sort of ever come out of social media to make those in government sort of agitated.
Okay, I think whoever thinks that is actually very ill-informed. I can state categorically that about between 3 to 4 Save Citizens campaign has happened on social media, where people from all over the country and those in diaspora to contribute money to actually save someone who is actually dying. Then if we don't forget any other thing, we should remember the Oga at the top scenario. It actually started from Twitter, and before we knew it, it was all over the country. So whoever
and there was Save Bagega.
Yeah, Save Bagega, where there was a very serious situation. We kept shouting and we kept making noise in their own terms, and at the end of the day, Bagega was actually saved.
Save Bagega is fundamental because this issue had been on from April 2012. Nothing happened. Then we published a story. We got it trending. We made phone calls, and then in 3 days, over $3 million had been released. And this was a social media fight. Social media delivered Bagega. Now things are happening in Bagega: remediation, cleanup, medical treatment. This happened through Twitter.
Okay, I'm going to put you on the spot now. You tweeted before you came here that you were going to see your pot belly and all of that.
Yeah,
and it got me thinking, that means a lot of people don't even know you.
No,
do you feel safe hiding behind social media to do all of this that you do? Does that make you feel safe?
I've not been hiding, actually. Okay? I've not been hiding. But I've been trying to avoid what I call distraction. Okay? I want to sit beside you in a bus and you don't know this is Chinedu Ekeke. And then I do what I do. I don't want to be, maybe I want to eat boli by the roadside, or I want to buy, I eat a lot of groundnuts. I want to buy groundnut and you're like, hey, Nedu Naija. I don't like that. Okay? And it actually took through there's so much persuasion and everything to get me here. So,
but doesn't that contradict? Because I think this is what, okay, we're all at, I don't know if you were there, at the symposium in Ikogosi. I think it was last month or so.
No, I wasn't.
Where the governor of River State said we're never going to change anything by sitting in air-conditioned rooms and tweeting. Okay. Nigeria was not going to move anywhere. Okay. Doesn't that contradict? Doesn't that enforce his point, basically? Because we grew up knowing protests with the Ganifa Wahimis and the Sabakobas who actually went out to make noise, and their faces were annoying regardless.
What did those protests change?
Just hold on. Just hold on. Now, I was very actively involved in Occupy Nigeria.
Okay.
And actually, I heard you say, apart from Occupy Nigeria, and that was like, Occupy Nigeria wasn't, I don't know, but what I read from there was like, maybe Occupy Nigeria was just one, by the way thing. But it was monumental, okay? And nobody saw my face when I was with Omojo. I went to Ojo and we were campaigning, we were talking to people, we were mobilizing people, okay? Even before the day that everybody joined, I was part of those that started, that we trekked from Yaba to Ojota.
The JAF thing.
Okay, yeah, the JAF thing. Okay, I was there. So nobody saw me, nobody knew me before I did that. Okay, I go to the streets, I talk to the people you ordinarily would overlook, the touts, I speak their language. So it's not about, being in front of screen or TVs and all that. That's not how change occurs. Okay, you should know what you want to do, and then when you do it, you get the results.
You said something.
And I think more importantly, look, it's not just about protest. And then we have to understand that the world is moving forward. I protested against a particular airline without carrying any placard.
Exactly.
But if you say that's not a protest, mention my name at their offices, and then you understand how. Look, when it comes to change, you have to put everything on the table. So if it means tweeting, you tweet, because it goes far. If it means going out to march, you march. Last year, 2012, there were over 3,000 protests in Spain. They still have the problems they have today. Why? Because protests have become the norm. The beauty of protests is novelty.
Yeah.
Why protests are effective is when there are no... Tahrir Square, there's no novelty about Tahrir. Something happens in Egypt tomorrow, they go to Tahrir Square, the cameras, they don't look as beautiful as they used to look. So novelty is what counts, and protests have lost their novelty. So there has to be something strategic about, look at what they did in Kenya, where they took swine and the whole death thing. That's what I call a protest. You can actually even protest by gathering everybody, having a party somewhere in front of the National Assembly. Novelty is what counts when getting people's attention. If you protest every day in Nigeria, a day would come when protests would have lost their value.
And then everybody will get used to your protest.
And you don't want the government to get used to your noise.
Do you feel like the government underrates Twitter?
The government doesn't underrate. All you need to do is pay attention to their language. Pay attention to their language. When they were starting the centenary when they were opening the centenary, whatever they were doing in Abuja, this guy said before they go on social media to go and start talking now, this thing is like this. When you hear the Minister of Finance, very, very good presentation, and she kept saying, this is real, this is real. And when you pay attention to her presentation at the so-called midterm report stuff, you could hear her intentionally putting things that would be popular with social media people, mentioning Conga, mentioning Jumia. She's a smart person. She knew exactly what she was doing. During the movement and even after that, when you pay attention to messages from... So the government took to questions, you could say that was arranged. Maybe they picked a particular person they wanted to, because the person was actually farming. But at least they picked it from Twitter. Ministers in America have had interviews via Twitter. If you discountenance social media, you're just... looking at the future, looking at reality and thinking it's not there. But the day it comes to hit you, you would really, really cry. You should go and... Yesterday, I was really getting a very, very bad service from a telecom provider. And I was really, really pissed off. I wanted to tweet, and then I realized I can't do that because I mean, at that point, I wished I just had a few people to discuss it with, because I was really, really angry. I had paid, I had everything, but I couldn't use my internet. But I couldn't do it because it was going to hurt those people badly. That's how far social media has come. Now, my wish would be that it's not just about me. My wish would be that it's about everybody, at least most people. So you don't call me an activist, because if all of us are actively trying to push the nation forward, it will be difficult for you to now say, isolate somebody as an activist. So for me, that's the idea. It's beyond what people think it is.
You're going to say something?
Yeah, in addendum to what Japheth said, I remember very vividly in Ekiti, the governor of River State actually said, I know you people insult me on social media, and I don't care. I don't even look at social media and all that. But seriously, if he knows he's been insulted on social media, he was actually cutting for some social media, like he called them activists, to come to his state and actually do something so that they can tweet about it. So basically, I think the problem or the mistake that most people make with social media is like pushing some people as particularly as frontliners. There are a lot of people that have grievances, and luckily a lot of platforms are springing up via social media. We have Policy Energy, for instance. Policy Energy is getting people's grievances over matters and archiving them. To a great extent, this is going to go a long way. If we have a serious-minded politician who actually wants to change things, a serious-minded public office holder, all he needs to do is just go through the archive of Policy Energy and see how Nigerians actually feel on. They can actually sit down in Abuja and say whatever they like about power. But you want to see how Nigerians truly feel about an issue, come on social media. As far as I'm concerned, in my humble opinion, I think social media is the last remnant of opposition.
One of the biggest criticisms you get about social media is the fact that it's not representative of the average Nigerian. I don't like to use that word average Nigerian, because who really is the average Nigerian? But because of how the number of Nigerians on social media, give or take 6-7 million, if you add Facebook, Twitter, and all of that put together, that's not even 10% of the population. Do you think that reflects what Nigerians... Do you agree with that notion that social media is not reflective of Nigeria?
Sure, certainly. Number one is you have to look at how many people are educated in Nigeria. How many people have the capacity to use social media? That's number one. Then number two, among the educated people, how many people see social media as something that is deserving of their time? Okay, that's what you look at. We have so many top-flying business executives that do not actually think they need social media. But I know Richard Branson is on social media. I know Robert Kiyosaki is on social media. I know Warren Buffett is on social media. Okay, don't worry. Let's leave Barack Obama because we could say he's a politician. But I know Bill Gates is on social media. I also know this, my friends. I have been a lot. What's his name?
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump.
Your friends with Donald Trump.
He's on social media. No, he got me riled up during the Obama campaign, and I was like, man, this guy is. So he's on social media. Yeah. But if you come to Nigeria, I don't know whether it's resistance to change or something. You see some of these people, they don't want to come to social media. Okay? But the truth is... They
don't want to be too accessible? Do you think that's the fear? Like, does it worry you, for example?
I do think it's when you're not ready to actually learn new things. Okay? I have a friend whose father retired as a manager somewhere, and he said, look, I'm not going to change my phone because I don't want to start learning new ones. You get that? And I think most of our parents reason along that line.
Does it worry you that the president, for example, is not active on social media, besides the Facebook group where it's been said over time that he might not necessarily be the one
that someone runs the account for him? Does
it worry you, like, you see the president of the most powerful country in the world actually does tweet?
Yeah.
I think if I was the president of Nigeria, I'd be on social media myself. And let me explain why. Especially for Nigerians, the fact that Nigerians can talk to you makes them feel good. One of the most criticized politicians in the history of this country got on social media recently. And you would think people were going to fire him.
Who's that?
I'm not going to mention his name.
Okay, is that because he's no longer in power?
The fact that he was answering them, they started praising him. I even saw a tweet that somebody said, oh, I love your ideologies. And I didn't even know this person even had ideologies. I love your ideologies. I've always believed in you and everything. And I'm like, wow. Because now an average person has self-esteem issues. So the fact that the president even replies you, God, is the best president.
But wasn't that what happened with him on Facebook?
Facebook is different. Facebook is not as personal as Twitter.
Yeah.
If I mention you directly, it's much more personal. Look, I know what I'm talking about. People screaming, celebrities just retweeted them and stuff. Twitter is not the same. I'm sorry, Facebook is not the same. It's much more personal. But the fact that the president is not, he would know why he's not using it. The guys that are trying to represent him on Twitter, they are making a mess of it. Apart from maybe Dr. Rubbin Abati, the other guys are making a mess of it. So I'd rather even be in charge of my own conversation, especially with respect to the psychology I just mentioned. That the fact that people even know that the president is trying as much as possible to be accessible is beautiful. But why he's not doing it is his business. President Barack Obama is doing a lot of, he's actually getting a lot of leverage via Facebook and via Twitter. A lot of the things that helped him, but apart from the first term, his second term was the fact that he was very, very much accessible on these platforms, and they could actually monitor people's feelings with respect to every issue.
But doesn't it matter? I mean, doesn't it count? I mean, he has a special advisor on social media.
Okay.
It shows that he pays attention to something there, even if he's not there physically. He has a lot of ministers who are on social media.
The fact that I have a special advisor on something doesn't mean I pay attention.
There's something you have to know. Do you know that the way you are, Ibuka, if someone greets you and you respond, he takes it that you're humble. That's the average, that's the psyche of the average Nigerian.
Yes.
So if he comes on social media and people tweet at him and he responds, it becomes that the president is humble, he's humane, he relates with us. Okay? So he needs to be on social media. Seriously, I think he needs to be on social media and then manage his the perception about him personally.
I think he will come before the election.
Because someone cannot be representing you and then throwing stuff at everybody that disagrees with you.
I think he will come before the elections.
Speaking of the elections now, what sort of a role do you think social media is going to play? I mean, in 2011, it was actually exciting. I see a lot of these countries now, Ghana, Kenya, they all have their elections and they're excited that they're tweeting. I think we actually launched this and we should pat ourselves in the back.
Yeah.
2011 elections, we did very well with platforms like Twitter. What do you think is going to change? Because 2015 looks like it's going to be very heated.
Like during the Edo elections, for instance, Twitter served as a kind of virtual collation center for that election. I was actually present at that election.
Yeah, that's true.
So many people were actually collecting the results from Twitter, and a lot of people were just tweeting in, and it just went, and it was really, really good. Like, people were actually happy to report, send pictures in about how the elections were going. Hashtags were created, and before you knew it was trending, everybody knew exactly what was going on. The same thing happened with the Odo elections. I believe that in 2015, social media, for instance, is going to play a very huge role in the elections. And even pre-2015, it is already shaping opinions for people. There are so many people who just, Nigerians, we have some sort of sheep shepherd thing.
Yeah.
A lot of people just want to know, okay, what do you think about so issue? And it's helping in shaping opinions. Before you know it, social media is already helping out in shaping opinions.
Quickly, finally, what do you want to see differently from what happened from the last elections in 2015? What do you want to see happen differently on social media?
Okay, differently on social media.
What do you want to see happen differently by 2015?
Okay, first of all, I want social media to drive voting patterns in 2015. Okay, the conversation should no longer be whether we want change. The conversation should be what kind of change do we want, and I want social media to pioneer that.
Finally, you?
Now, for me, I think we have to understand that we've got influence, but so far our influence, we might talk about Bagega and Occupy and all that. I think we're just still masturbating on nothing. We can still do more.
There's still a lot more to happen.
Yeah, there's a lot. As far as I'm concerned, nothing has been done compared to what social media actually has the ability and potential to do.
Thank you very much, guys. If we continue with this conversation, I'm sure we will go on. But I'm going to hold you because I want to know how you make money off of Twitter.